There are some places that make you feel small in the best way possible. One such place is Orvieto, Italy. Hello, all, and welcome back to Jolly Good Journeys. Today I'm in Orvieto, Italy. For the next 7 days, I'm going to base myself out of this beautiful cliffside city and explore the countryside of Umbria. Let's dive right in. After settling in, I walked over to the edge of the cliffs near the San Patrizio well. The Umbrian countryside rolled out beneath me like a patchwork quilt of greens and ochres. It was exactly why I chose this place as my base. It felt central yet completely removed from the noise of the modern world. I just stood there for a while, taking in the scale of the valley. Early the next morning, I went back out. The streets were silent, save for the sound of my own footsteps on the cobblestones. I love these hours when the city feels like it belongs only to me. I kept turning down narrow passages, following the curve of the stone walls. And then, as I rounded a final corner, there it was, the Duomo, framed perfectly by the shadows of the alley. I spent nearly an hour just circling the exterior. The detail was overwhelming. Every inch of the facade was covered in intricate carvings and vibrant frescoes that had survived centuries of sun and wind. I found myself focusing on the smaller things, the expression on a carved figure, the way the light hit the bronze doors. It was a masterpiece of geometry and devotion. Most people tend to just take a quick photo and move on, but I wanted to really see it. There was a rhythm to the architecture that felt both heavy and incredibly light at the same time. It served as a constant reminder of the sheer effort it took to build something this beautiful on top of a lonely cliff. From there, I just let my feet lead the way. That's the beauty of Orvieto. It's small enough that you can't truly get lost, but complex enough that you're always discovering something new. I passed hidden courtyards tucked behind heavy wooden doors and windows draped with ivy. There was a distinct lack of souvenir shops in these back streets, which made the experience feel far more authentic. It felt like a living city, not a museum. I wandered past small workshops where I could hear the faint sound of people starting their day. The air was cool, and the stone walls kept the morning heat at bay. I didn't have a map out. I just followed the light and the quiet hum of the morning. Eventually, I ran into a local who wasn't in any hurry at all. By some strange coincidence, I have this habit of finding a cat in every single town that I visit, and Orvieto was no exception. This one seemed like the unofficial gatekeeper of the quarter. We spent a few minutes together in the sun. It was one of those small, quiet moments that usually don't make it into a travel guide, but for me, it was exactly the kind of connection that makes solo travel so rewarding. Next, I decided it was time to change my perspective, so I headed for the Torre del Moro. The climb was steep, around 270 steps, and the steps were worn smooth by centuries of visitors. At the top, I looked back down the spiral of the stairwell. Just made me realize how high I had actually climbed to reach the top. When I finally stepped out into the open air, the wind hit me first, then the view. It was a full 360-degree panorama of the entire region. From up there, the layout of the city made perfect sense. A fortress carved out of the rock. I could see the narrow streets I had just walked, appearing like tiny cracks in the stone from this height. Beyond the city walls, the Umbrian hills stretched out towards the horizon, fading into a hazy blue in the distance. I stayed up there for a long time, just watching the shadows of the clouds move across the valley floor. It was the perfect vantage point to plan my routes for the days ahead. But as impressive as the heights were, I knew there was another side to Orvieto that most people literally walk right over. I headed underground into a massive network of caves and tunnels carved directly into the soft rock. It was a labyrinth of history. I walked through ancient olive presses and rooms that had been used for everything from pigeon nesting to bomb shelters during the war. The temperature dropped significantly as I went deeper, and the silence was absolute. It was incredible to think that for every building I saw on the surface, there was likely a corresponding space carved out beneath it. The ingenuity of people who lived here thousands of years ago was staggering. They didn't just build on the rock, they lived inside it. Exploring these shadows felt like stepping into the city's subconscious, a dark, cool contrast to the sun drenched squares above. I followed the passages as they opened up into vast chambers where you could still see the tool marks on the walls from Etruscan times. It wasn't just a storage space, it was a shadow city that had protected and sustained the people above for generations. Every turn it revealed a new mystery. My final stop for the day was the Pozzo di San Patrizio. This was engineering on a whole different level. I started the long descent down the double helix staircase, designed so that the mules going down wouldn't run into the ones coming back up. The symmetry of the windows looking into the center of the well was hypnotic. As I moved lower, the air grew damp and the light from above began to fade into a soft, ethereal glow that bounced off the damp stone. At the very bottom, the world felt miles away. I stood on the small bridge over the water and looked straight up. The sky was just a small, perfect circle of blue at the end of a long stone tunnel. It was a humbling perspective, looking up from the depths of the earth towards the light. It was the perfect end to my first day. Orvieto had already given me so much. For my next stop, I'm heading out to a town that is quite literally crumbling away. See you next time in Civita di Bagnoregio.